Welcome back to The Signal. I'm Andy Beanstalk. Have you ever gotten to a point in your life where the tedium of your daily routine drives you to desperation, a point where you just want to escape it all? Baltimore author Justin Sirois has taken that fraught impulse and spun it into a novel called So Say the Waiters. It's the all-too-plausible story of a mobile phone app that answers the call when people say, "Just take me away." Sirois is here in studio this week with The Signal's Aaron Henkin.
Justin Sirois, I want to start, I guess, first with the title of this book, So Say the Waiters. Give us a little exposition about who these people are, these waiters, who they're waiting for, and how they've signed themselves up for these rather odd and extreme situations.
The whole book is centered around an app and social network that allows people to kidnap each other, or schedule their own kidnappings, rather. So you sign up for the app, you put it on your phone, you create a profile, and once you submit your kidnap application, within 48 hours, people come get you. So the waiters are the people who have signed up for kidnap, and they're waiting to be taken by the takers.
The waiters and the takers. How in the world did you fall upon this premise for a story? This is fictional, we'll remind people.
It is fictional, but I'll admit that there are a few companies out there that do stuff like this. There's a company in New York that does kind of high-end performance art stuff, and then there's a company in the Midwest that does not so high-end stuff, and I think there's one in the UK. So throughout my research, I did find some people that do fetish things like this, but it's not a social network. It's not an app. And I think that's what makes this particular story special, is that when people download the app, the characters, their entire world changes. All of a sudden, anyone with a cell phone is potentially involved with the application. So as the characters develop, you understand that their lives are completely turned upside down by the potential of this new thing that's out there.
We'll talk a little bit more about this disturbing theme and its technological implications, but first, let me just ask you to introduce us to a few of the primary characters in this novel. You've got Henry and Danny, a guy and a girl. These are two strangers. They're from two different walks of life, and they're on this very convoluted collision course with each other. Who are these people, and what's propelling them toward each other?
Okay, well, Henry is in his early 30s. He works in an office. I describe him to people as sort of conservative a little bit. He's kind of square, but super nice, and he just wants to succeed in life in the probably most conventional way possible. And he is in a pretty awful situation. His fiance left him. He has a mortgage that he can't afford. So the story starts off with him in a particular financial situation that's common with a lot of people in our economic climate. Danny is sort of the polar opposite. She's in her early 20s. She's a bartender. She rides a 10-speed, doesn't own her car, and she drinks a lot, and she's reckless. But she's brilliant, and she's sort of an early adapter to kidnap, to the application. The story opens with Henry, and he's being solicited to work for the company. And I don't want to reveal too much, but throughout the novel, you'll see how Henry and Danny eventually, I don't want to say what happens, but they meet.
They're seduced in different ways and on different ends of this entire network and what it's all about.
Yeah.
There is one other major character, I guess you could say, in this story that I want to have you talk about, and that's the ubiquitous smartphone, right? I mean,
Sure.
Henry and Danny, they're both thoroughly addicted to their phones. The phones are constantly intruding and interrupting their lives, controlling their lives, really. And, of course, this whole kidnap app hinges on everyone having these phones and being constantly plugged into them and the GPS component of them. How much of this story is really kind of a meditation on our relationship with these mobile devices?
I think you really nailed it there, because you are sort of, I don't want to say kidnapped when you're involved with social media, but it is sort of a metaphor. Like, these characters are sucked into this world that's really changing and developing them, but it has everything to do with their cell phones and social media and connectivity.
And in a sense, there's an irony here because the Kidnap app is all about this technology, but the desire to be kidnapped, in a sense, is like people wanting to escape their phones and their connectedness.
Yeah, it's. I guess the twist with the story is that it's totally consensual. So I've taken kidnapping, which is, traditionally a bad thing, and I've turned it upside down and made it a positive thing. To sort of preface a little bit, the waiters that are waiting to be kidnapped, they tailor their kidnappings in such a way that it's not a violent act and it's not something that is malicious or hurts anyone. It's sort of like what you're saying, it's an escape. Danny in particular, because she's sort of an early adapter and you get the feeling that she's been using the app for about a year or so, she's developed her takings or kidnappings into something totally more conceptual. She's not just being tied up in a room. There's something more profound happens. And I think that's where the potential for tenderness and vulnerability opens up sort of a traditional plot device into something way more interesting.
Yeah, these kidnapping submissions can be infinitely personalized. The duration of your kidnapping, you choose a safe word. But it really does seem like one of the most exquisite parts of the experience for these people is the time between once they press the submit button and when they actually get nabbed.
Yeah, I wanted to stress that. It's the tension that's created when you hit submit and you have that 48-hour window to be taken. That's where your world is turned upside down because you don't know when you're going to disappear, who's going to take you, how they're going to take you and when, or who's going to see you being taken. And the fact that this could happen, like someone tomorrow could create this app, and if it were approved and put on the market, who's to stop people from doing it? And that was one of the things when I developed the idea of the social network. And when I told people the premise, they were like, well, is it real? Can it be real? And some people want it to be real. Like some readers are like, I would do that.
You're tuned to The Signal on WYPR. I'm Aaron Henkin, joined in studio this week by Baltimore author Justin Sirois. His new book is called So Say the Waiters. And Justin, at one point in your story, we meet the creator, the mastermind of this wildly popular kidnap app, and he says, what do you give a person who has everything? You start taking things away. And I wonder what you intended him to mean by that, what sort of a comment that is about society and how much we have at our fingertips and how much that means to us or ends up not meaning to us.
Yeah. I think in a consumer culture where we have everything at our fingertips, where we can download things at the drop of a hat or go out to a bar or buy a soda at 8 in the morning or 3 in the morning or anytime we want, that there's an allure to taking options away and that people do want to restrain themselves and they have this kind of longing to being told not what to do. And the whole thing with Kidnap is building a culture around that type of restraint.
There's something in this story of yours, Justin, that reminds me a lot of Chuck Palahniuk's book Fight Club. You've got these masses of people who are sort of dulled to their existences, and they gravitate to this kind of extreme underground sport of kidnapping just to feel alive again. And it's like a religiously revelatory experience for them. I mean, it seems to hit a strangely modern American nerve, this fantasy. What do you think is behind that impulse?
Everyone's always looking for meaning. I am. I'm not a religious person. I'm not that spiritual. I have art, and that brings meaning to my life. And I think So Say the Waiters sort of taps into this need that people are constantly looking for something higher than themselves. And if someone gives you a vehicle for creating that for yourself, be it religion or art or being a radio host, then that's okay. It's giving you a sense of yourself, and that's what people are always, since the dawn of time, really looking for.
Definitely a pretty universal modern American nerve, but I should say for local Baltimore readers, especially for like current day 20 and 30-something city dwellers, I have to say you evoke a sense of place here that is absolutely uncanny. Certain rock clubs, certain farm-to-table restaurants, you don't mention them all by name, but if you're from around here, you know exactly where these places are and where they're taken from. And then there's this certain vegetarian, tattooed, fixed-gear bike riding demographic that you managed to sort of simultaneously celebrate and satirically skewer. This is your tribe, if I may venture a guess. This is your Baltimore.
It is. I moved here when I was 18, and I fell in love with like the local indie music scene, and I feel like that's how I was sort of brought up as an adult. On the flip side, Henry is he works in a federal agency, and that's my other life. So I'm sort of melding the two together. So I think our other half of the readers might say the same thing about the office culture that I mentioned in the book as well. But I mean, I've been waiting a long time to write about Baltimore and find the right story and the right people and characters, and hopefully this is it.
Let me ask you about the format of this book. This was originally published serially. How does this work? It's in episodes.
Yeah, it's sort of meta in a sense because I literally wanted people to read it on their cell phones, on the Kindle app, which is free, and you can download the first episode, which is a fifth of the book, on your phone or tablet or whatever, and read it on the fly. So I was thinking like, okay, you're reading a book on an app about a cell phone app, and it references itself. But it's been really handy to serialize the novel because for $1, literally, you can get the first episode and check it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy the rest. And then the next 2 episodes are cheap, and then from there on, it's sort of serialized in bits and pieces. The paperback is available as well. But I like the idea of serializing this thing in episodes, also because it's almost written like a TV show.
I was going to say, this is sort of the literary version of one of those super addictive HBO series. And, of course, they all have like this cliffhanger ending that makes you immediately want to start reading the next episode.
That's the point. I think my long-term major goal with this is to see it adapted on screen. I would love to see that.
Finally, before I let you go, Justin, I must say I will, after having read this book, never again be able to say the expression cool without feeling like a total bonehead. You have a vendetta against this casual expression cool. Anytime anyone says the word cool in this book, they immediately feel like an idiot, or someone else thinks they're an idiot for having said it. What's the beef, man?
I don't know.
Did you realize you did that?
No. It's so uncool of me.
Every time someone says cool in here, someone like that character is immediately like, why did I say that? What a stupid thing to say. Or the character who it's been said to is like, what a moronic thing for this person to say.
Man, that says more about me than you. I don't know.
You're airing some of your own neuroses in this book as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of insecurity in this book that gets solved throughout the series. I have a lot of it outlined. I outlined the entire thing before I started it, and then I have the next 6 through 9 episodes outlined. And Henry and Danny, as insecure and bizarre as they are right now, develop into totally different people by the end of, I'm going to say, the 3rd book. So they get cooler.
Justin Sirois is the author of So Say the Waiters. You can check it out online at sosaythewaiters.com. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
I'm just an average man with an average life. I work from 9 to 5. Hey, hell, I pay the price.